The fifth segment of this program is titled The Maze of Life. Life isn't easy, nor is it particularly fair. The maze is an analogy for explaining how this difficult and sometimes unfair life works. The maze of life depicts a tournament bracket of sorts, like a wrestling tournament, where each individual has a starting seed and then works their way through the bracket. Privilege is another word for seeding, where everyone above you has more privilege than you, and those below you have less privilege. God seeds us in this 7.5 billion people tournament bracket, and there is nothing fair about our seeding. When I ask students whether they think that those of us here in Farmington, New Mexico, on average, have great seeds, okay seeds, or lousy seeds in the 7.5 billion people pile, most kids say lousy, and some kids say okay. The right answer is that we are unbelievably lucky to live in a small town in America and not in the war-torn Middle East, disease-ridden Africa, slumdog millionaire India, or even the slums of some American cities. In the last decade, tens of thousands of children and families have left their homes in Central America to come live in makeshift camps in the U.S. These people leave their maze behind to come sleep on the floor of our maze just for the opportunity that America provides each and every individual. Despite the fact that virtually all Americans are in the top portion of the bracket, we are still all over the place in terms of our seating or privilege. Going back to the factors that affect who we are, some of you have more difficult seats because of money issues or health issues or family issues or even what race you are. But no matter our seat, we still have to play our way through the bracket. Every intersection in the bracket is a competition, not with the people above or below you, but with yourself. It's a choice you make that moves you up or down in the bracket in very small increments at a time. But ultimately, you become the cumulative sum of those seemingly insignificant choices. Allie Davis is going to describe how the maze works in this real-life story of two young men who started with similar seeds but ended up in far different places because of the choices they made. Allie has an accounting degree and works as a business analyst at Marion.
All right, hi everybody. My name is Allie Davis and I'm a 2004 PV graduate. So I have somewhat set where you are sitting now. We were in school my freshman year, but I know you guys are still doing virtual learning and that this is an incredibly unprecedented and difficult time, but we are delivering a message that we hope can motivate you, help you. Maybe it's what you need to hear today, and for the next couple of years of your life, you can look back at this and hopefully it will, some of this will resonate. And so we're going to pretend that there's two high school students working their way through this bracket of life, and they are freshmen in high school just like all of you. So we'll say one is named Shiloh and one is named David. So both of these, they're both boys, they both go to high school in Farmington, New Mexico, and they are both having their freshman year of high school right now, and they're going through what you're going through. They're having to do remote learning. Maybe they have really difficult home situations. You know, they're in your position. So we'll say that when you're working through this bracket of life, think about it as the top of the bracket up here. You would have like your dreams, your goals. Remember all those things that you thought you wanted for your life from the activity the other day? Those would be, you know, what you're working towards up here. What is down here would be things like, we'll just draw train tracks. And train tracks can be different for everybody. They can be the negative things that can happen. So kind of the opposite of the good things and the things you want in your life. Down here you've got teen pregnancy, maybe you have addiction, you have poverty, you can even have death down here. So these are all the things that can go wrong in your life based on, you know, which way you're moving in your life. So as you're working through your day, you're making decisions all day long. The average adult makes 35,000 decisions in a day. So when you're making those 35,000 decisions, which some of them don't even matter, some of them are going to be bigger than others, but at every decision point, you're either going to move up towards your dreams and goals, or you may move down. So a decision could be to brush your teeth. Am I gonna brush my teeth today? No, I don't feel like brushing my teeth. Well, ultimately, that's gonna have consequences, and that's gonna lead you in a direction that's not positive. If you're brushing your teeth, making those decisions, you're moving up. So it can be little tiny decisions or it can be big decisions. Am I gonna get up when my alarm goes off? Am I gonna do my assignment that my teacher asked me to do? You know, those are the types of decisions. So these two high school freshmen, they are working through their high school career. So in this story, Shiloh is a baseball player, and overall he's a very self-disciplined student and athlete. He's and we learned what self-discipline was in the other video. So he's doing things that he needs to do, whether he wants to do them or not. So this morning, when it's time to hop on that Zoom, Shiloh's getting up 45 minutes before the Zoom. He's getting ready for the day. He's brushing his teeth. He's ready to go. He's logged on when the Zoom starts. David, we'll say, is also a freshman, and we'll say he's on the golf team. So, and he's setting his alarm. If he needs to be on his Zoom at 8 a.m., he's setting it for 7:55. He's barely rolling out of bed. He's scrambling around. He's logging on, and he's there. He's 3 minutes late, but he's on the Zoom. So they have very different approaches to their lives. So Shiloh is making good decisions, we'll say. You know, and life's not always easy for Shiloh. He's not a genius. Math's really hard for him. He struggles a lot with math. So let's say there's a math assignment and he gets a D on it, and he's like, gosh, I got a D. So he's gonna reach out to his teacher and he's gonna say, no, I really didn't understand what you were talking about the other day in class. I didn't do well on this assignment. How can I do better? Is there something, you know, can I get a tutor? Can I get help from you? Can I do extra credit? What can I do? So he's working his best to make good grades and to do the right things. Meanwhile, David gets a D on an assignment, and instead of, you know, in his mind he thinks, well, this semester doesn't matter anyways. They're gonna throw out this grade. It doesn't matter anyways. So he's making a bad decision, and they're each kind of going their own way already, just that simply. But this goes on and on. It can go on to, you know, I said Shiloh was on the baseball team. Well, he's getting up early in the morning and doing a workout because when the season is able to start, like, he wants to be ready for it. Maybe he and his friends that he is allowed to be with, they're getting to practice, they're getting to work on drills, they're doing things. He's staying focused on his dreams, his goals, which for him is to play professional baseball. And David, meanwhile, he's taking this as a big vacation. He's just sleeping in. He's realizing that if he doesn't go play golf, nobody's gonna notice, nobody's gonna ask, and, you know, it's just not that important. So he's kind of just making this way. David spends his free time playing video games and on social media. And, you know, not everything David does is negative. He always does enough to kind of get by and to stay away from these train tracks, but in general, he's working his way down. Same with Shiloh up here. Not every single decision is a good decision. He's gonna make mistakes. He's gonna do things that, you know, he wish he could do differently. But in general, he's moving up to these dreams and goals. Because in general, he's positioning himself closer to that. And in general, David's positioning himself closer to the train tracks. So these two students go through their high school career, and they both just keep going in this general direction. They're making all the decisions, and we'll talk about Shiloh first. So Shiloh graduated from Piedra Vista. He was a baseball player, he was drafted by the Giants upon high school graduation. He went and played for the Giants for about 4 years, and loved that, had an awesome experience. And that was his dream and goal, was to get drafted and be a professional ball player. So he did that, and it was great. And then it didn't work out, and he got cut from the Giants because not everything always goes perfect for Shiloh. But because he had worked his way up in this maze of life, he was positioned to do other things. When Shiloh got cut from the baseball team, he had so many opportunities, and he could have gone to school. He had a lot of different job offers. He had different places he could live. he had positioned himself for opportunity and options where he was able to make decisions. So Shiloh today is a firefighter here in Farmington, New Mexico. He's doing what he wants to do, and he's doing really great. And David, so Shiloh is my husband's brother, and David is my brother. And David graduated from Piedra Vista High School, and just like I told you, like, he just did enough to get by. And maybe that's what some of you have planned, you know, is just to skate by, because and that might work. You're going to get your diploma. You're going to avoid these train tracks for now, for sure. You know, maybe you won't get pregnant. You won't be addicted. You're not going to have big issues in high school. And that was David. He was able to just kind of skate by these train tracks. He got his high school diploma, and then he went to Fort Lewis. He was a junior there, and he was pursuing a business degree. And he was doing the same thing at Fort Lewis. Same exact thing as he did at Piedra Vista. He just always did enough to just get by. He was just kind of always flirting with the train tracks, kind of in trouble, but okay, I'm back out of trouble, and just always on that edge. And one night he and his buddy were in downtown Durango. It was a Wednesday night. They were drinking way too much. He was 21, but he and his friend were at the bar, and they got in the car. His friend was driving. They went out on Florida Highway and had a one-car accident, and David's body was ejected from the car, and he was killed instantly at impact. And I don't tell you this story to tell you that you're gonna die if you're down here. Like I said, this isn't always death. For David, it was, and he skated by for a really long time, and he did okay, and he made all these decisions, and it's not always going to lead to death for you, but it is going to lead to something unfortunate. And even if it's not a huge life thing that's looming out there, you are positioning yourself in a place that's going to be hard to come out of. You're going to position yourself in a place where things that aren't your goals and dreams are more likely to happen, where it's going to be harder life for you, where success is harder to come by. And my challenge to you today is to start positioning yourself up here. And maybe you don't reach this right now, but at least you're in a place where you're moving in that direction. You're positioned to be successful. You're making the right decisions. You're using that self-discipline, and you are ultimately going to be positioned to have a much better life. So that's the message of the Maze of Life, and I hope that some of that resonates with you all. Thanks for listening.
Allie's powerful story of Shiloh and David is a great example of how the maze works, and it reveals a number of truths concerning the maze of life. First, each choice only moves you a little ways. You have to do it over and over and over again to ultimately reach your goals. Shiloh didn't get in shape by only working out once or twice, but by working out 5 to 6 days a week, week in, week out. In the same manner, David didn't end up on the railroad tracks by making one bad decision, although sometimes that's all it takes. It was the cumulative sum of one bad decision after another that put him at risk and ultimately resulted in a train wreck. Truth too about the maze is that each choice takes self-discipline. Shiloh, in Allie's story, didn't always feel like getting up before school to lift weights for baseball, but he did it anyway. To move up in the maze, you have to do things you don't always feel like doing. Number 3, as much as the previous points preach responsibility and self-determination, we aren't totally in control of the maze. For David's example, proverbial train wrecks happen in the maze that can drastically change, or in his case, even end one's life. Some wrecks come without warning, such as getting sick or injured, but most wrecks are self-induced, such as becoming a drug addict, or gambling away all your savings, or dropping out of school. As Allie said, beware the train tracks of life. Not everyone who plays on the train tracks gets run over by the train, but no train can hit you if you stay off the tracks. Truth number 4, while train wrecks can drastically change your location in the maze, the fact remains that wherever you are in the maze, it is always infinite before you, stairs up or stairs down from wherever you are. No matter what bad choices you have made so far, you can start making good ones and climbing your way out anytime you want. In the words of C.S. Lewis, you can't go back and change the beginning of your story, but you can start where you are now and change the ending. And finally, number 5, the ability to reach your goals ultimately gets down to today, right now, the only day that you can do anything. You can talk about working out tomorrow till you are blue in the face, but the only day you can actually work out is today. So decide today whether you're going to keep sliding down or whether you're going to start making the choices that move you up in the maze. In closing, the maze of life is not meant to be fair. Like a snowflake floating to earth, we each take our own unique path through the maze, face our own challenges, struggle with our own train wrecks. But no matter how unique our wandering paths, we all find ourselves right here, right now, with the infinitely repeating question, what am I going to do with today? It's your life. Make your today count.